This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy to see if you could save when you bundle your home and auto policies. Try it at progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
She needs to do a podcast since she never got her due. She's a big lesbian and a loudmouth Jew. With a gasket always ready to blow, you're listening to Judy's show. Who? Judy show. Wait a minute, who are you talking about? Oh, she's an asshole. What is wrong with you? Oh, you suck. So long. Fuck off.
Hey everyone, welcome to It's Judy Show with Judy Gold. I'm your host, Judy Gold. And today we have part 3 of my interview with Robin Tyler, which I have been getting such amazing feedback about. Robin Tyler also gets a bell. And I'm so appreciative that you like the 3-parter. She is just such an icon and had so much to say. And I think part 3 is really fascinating. I think you're going to learn stuff that you wish you didn't know, maybe, but she's just the greatest. So thank you for all your support and love about this 3-parter. And we have some great people coming up, but I wanted to tell you before we talk about the fact that this is going to be airing before we know the results of the election. So I just want to let you know that November 8, 9, and 10, this weekend I'm in Chicago at the Big Gay Cabaret, which is at the Venus Cabaret Theater. The Venus Cabaret Theater. I love cabaret theaters. They are my fave because they're small and intimate and classy. You know what I'm saying? So you will see me, the Big Gay Cabaret, this Friday at 8 p.m., this Saturday at 8 p.m., and I think I have one at 5 o'clock on Sunday, 5:30. So please come. It's going to be so fun. I love Chicago. And guess who's coming with me? Yes, you know, Elisa Dawn Halpern will be there with me. So if you come to the show, you get to meet, you get a double bonus. So that's this week. My birthday is November 15th, which is next Friday. So I will be hoping that perhaps you wish me a happy birthday because I'm a little baby about it. I'm a little baby. And then November 16, I will be in Poughkeepsie, New York at Laugh It Up. Ha 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 ha! Laugh It Up. Okay. And then get ready, Florida. I'm coming to Aventura on November 22nd, Friday night. And I'm at the Boca Black Box on November 23rd. Shows are at 6:30 and 8:30 because I know my audience, baby. And I know no one's coming to a 9 o'clock show. So get your asses Aventura on the 22nd, Boca Black Box on the 23rd, and the Weitzman Library in Philadelphia. Weitzman Library on the 21st. But I really need you to come to see me in Florida. And also the fact that, you know, you all are like, when are you coming to Florida? Oh my God, I didn't know you were in Florida. Well, I'm coming to Florida. Aventura, the 22nd, Boca Black Box, the 23rd. Okay. So you can check all that out on my Insta. What else? Tweetar, it's X, whatever the fuck it's called, Threads, Facebook. I can't. So here's all I have to say right now. I just want to tell you that today I'm recording this after the New York City Marathon, which I won. A lot of people don't know they actually reported that another woman won the marathon. I actually won it. And, Yeah, I ran 26.2 miles in an hour. Oh, finally, Elise is laughing. Okay. I did run the marathon in 1997. I ran it in 97 in 4 hours and 51 minutes. And that was the last marathon I did. And now I have 2 fake knees. So good job, Judy. Good job. But I went out there as I do every year. I've done a few random acts of kindness this week. And I am so supporty. Elisa, I'm recording. I did random acts of kindness for you. Did I not make you that salmon with the rice?
Yeah, that was delicious.
Okay, there you go. Anyway, I go out there and I scream. You know, I don't know if you've heard the story before, but when people put their names on their shirts so that you can scream, because it really does. It helps. It really helps, especially here at Elisa's, which is like mile 22. And I'm telling you, it totally motivates people. You're like, you could do it. Come on, you only got 4 miles left, And so I did that. And I remember when I ran, I'm sure I've told the story, my ex had written my name on my shirt, and it's Judy, as you know, but the U looked like an O because the 2 tops were a little too close together, and people were screaming, "Go Jody," and I was getting really pissed off until I had no fucking energy to say it's Judy at the end. I was just like, yeah, okay, my name's Jody, because you can't fucking breathe at the end. Anyway, so that that is something I do every year, is go out there and scream, and it's great to see people react and be like, thank you, thank you, thank you. So that was fun. Although I did have to wash my hands multiple times because I, put my hand out and had people hit my hand. So yeah, they slapped me 5. Elise is giving me a look. Okay. So that's that. I also want to say I found someone's wallet in a cab. And I did Judy Gold detective work. This is the kind of work I do for my interviews. Where I go on Facebook, I look, I do a lot of investigating, Facebook or Instagram, and then I find out who they're related to. And, I do a lot of investigative reporting on this podcast, but I found this wallet, and it had money in it, and it had, of course I didn't take the money, but I had the person's license, and then I did white pages. I did all this shit until I found her sister on Facebook, and her sister is friends, had the mother was friends with the sister because I had figured out the mother's name. And then I looked up the mother, and the mother and I had a mutual friend, Wendy Liebman. Oh, by the way, I should hit the bell for the lost wallet. And Wendy Liebman, the great iconic comedian who I've been friends with for 900 years. And I said, Wendy, do you know this woman? And she said, yes, I went to college with her. And P.S., she called her daughter. I mean, this is going to be the Jewiest story in the world. The daughter called me. I gave permission to use my phone, give them my phone number. And then she was on her way up to my apartment, but it was taking too long. And Elisa's like, why don't we just meet her at Zabar's? We're going to Zabar's, have her meet us at Zabar's. And so we went to buy stuff for brunch for the marathon at Zabar's, and she met us at Zabar's. And then I gave her the wallet, and all these Jews are happy now. And boy, did we have a nice Zabar's breakfast. Anyway, so we were eating, lox and bagels and rugelach and whitefish salad and herring and quiche while they were all running. So that was my day today. And I am worried. I'm worried, but I have a good feeling, and I don't want to jinx it. And it's like, who the fuck knows? It's out of our control. It's out of our control at this point. All we can do is vote. But the fact that fat fucking felon, rapist, dumb fucking idiot, classless piece of goddamn sexual assault shit was jerking off a microphone, simulating jerking off a microphone and giving it a blowjob. And you're going to vote for that person because that person's good for Israel? Okay, that person isn't good for shit. And you're going to, I just read an article that he wants to turn the nation into a Christian nation. You people are fucking crazy. You think that guy gives one shit about you? Go listen to my interview with Tristan Snell about the shit he pulled with Trump University and how many people he bankrupt. Okay? He's disgusting. So I don't care what you think. He is no good for anyone. And him and his boyfriend Putin can go fuck themselves. All right. So yeah, that's it. I want you to, all right, so just enjoy. This is a week, and God knows I have a rant next week, and God knows what the fuck is going to go on, but something's going to go on. So all I can advise you to do is sit back, relax, and enjoy part 3 of my interview with Robin Tyler. I want to talk about your activism at this point. You realize at Stonewall, this is going to be a fucking long fight. And I often talk about the AIDS crisis and how,
long before the AIDS crisis, you can get 8 years for, I wanted people to come out. I just thought if everybody could come out, they couldn't oppress us because there's so many of us.
Right.
And
that was Harvey Milk. That was his,
right.
He used to say that too. I think he took it from you, but go ahead.
He did.
Yeah.
Right. So what happened was I decided I was the first to call for the march in Washington. A lot of people thought it was Harvey. It wasn't. I called for a march. I was playing the University of Minnesota and in St. Paul, Minnesota, and they were having a referendum because of Anita Bryant. Oh, I have another good joke on her. Should I do it?
Yeah.
Anita Bryant even quit the church she was going to because they insisted on singing "Go Down Moses." So I said, what if you lose a referendum? And at first I was going to do a joke. We should march in Washington. We know how gay men like camping. But I said, I think we should march in Washington. And they started to applaud. I said, yes, we're going to march on Washington and we need to go there. And so they formed the Minnesota Committee for the March on Washington. All right, I go back to LA. They start organizing, but the men and the women are fighting. Those are the days where, girls didn't speak to the boys. And they're all, and mostly it was the women that didn't want to talk to the men. And the lesbians that didn't want to talk to the gay men. And it doesn't matter if you spell women with a Y. Women, your daddy was still a man. You know what I mean?
Right.
Sperm is somewhere there. So I go down to California, and it stops, but they start organizing. And I'm the keynote speaker, and Harvey Milk is the keynote speaker. So Harvey says, I want to go on first. And I said, you always want to go on last. Why you want? He says, no. And he gets up on stage and calls for a march in Washington. And I said, now Harvey came from being a Republican, right? He was a Republican until he moved to San Francisco. Yeah. He had never taken part in any marches. I had been involved in all the feminist stuff, and all the protests and everything. So he calls for march, and he got off stage, and I said, I'm going to kill you. How dare you? And he said, well, you let me on first. So, yeah, he wasn't the nicest fella, trust me.
Did you know Dianne Feinstein during that time?
Yeah, we had rented a campground to do the festival, City of San Francisco, and the gay man working for Dianne said that we couldn't advertise the festival. Well, how could I get women there if I didn't have? So I advertised, and we were there 2 years, and they ended up throwing us out because we had advertised the festival. So she was not that good on gay rights then. I mean, she was more, that was her guy that worked for her.
Right. And the reason I was bringing up the AIDS crisis a few minutes ago was because that crisis changed the relationship between lesbians and gay men.
Yes, it did.
100%. Yes.
I'll go to that, though. I'll get to it.
Okay, so we're going to get to the 78 March.
Yeah.
But I was just thinking, I think for LGBT comics, you're the person who's had the most amount of jokes stolen.
Yes.
It's unbelievable. I'm listening to your stand-up online. I'm like, this one did that joke. That one did this joke. I mean, people don't understand that comedians, there's no copywriting.
I was in Israel, and I had done the Jesus was a Jewish boy joke right? Lives with his family. He's 30, took up his father's profession, mother's that. The tour guide starts telling me that joke. I grabbed him and I'm shaking him. I said, I know it sees this way.
Right.
That's my joke. Where did you get my joke? So it ended up in Israel, the Jesus Jewish joke.
I
you
love
can't
it.
copyright jokes.
Right. It's
You know?
so unfair. It's
I know.
So, yeah.
But anyway.
Okay. So, yes.
All right, look, I called for the march in Washington. I called up a guy named Troy Perry. He was the head of MCC Church. And I said, let's take a train across the country. Every place the train stops, we will talk to gay people that aren't coming to the march. Okay, so we get on the train, 300, they were taking the train already from San Francisco, but I suggested Troy and I go on it and use it so we get on the train and we pull into our first stop and no one's there because they're scared to come out. So the 300 guys, I said, I have an idea. So we got the gay guys to hop, there was 300 gay guys and 6 lesbians that wouldn't talk to them. So we get them to hop off the train and to greet us as we're coming in. And so we had our own, every time we landed in a city, we had our own people hop off the train and then we'd speak. And the headlines read, hundreds of homosexuals go to greet Reverend Cherry and Robin Tyler. But it was our own train.
So how did they know how did the people in the towns know you were coming?
They knew we were coming. I don't know how they knew, but the MCC Church knew.
That's so great.
You know, and they met us, though, in Denver they came out and in Chicago they came out. But basically, they wouldn't come out anywhere else. So we did the 78 March, 100,000 people. Then in 1987, of course, was the AIDS crisis.
Yep.
And there's always a march committee to make decisions about what people want. So they voted against, 2 guys wanted to do a marriage ceremony. The march committee voted against it. So I said, good, we're going to do it anyway. Who are they to vote against it? People.
I know.
Yeah, right. So I am known as she who is difficult to work with. So...
well, it's always a she.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right. So they did. So the 2 big things at the march in 87, 79, we got 100,000. 87, we got 600,000. And they did the AIDS quilt, which was very moving.
Yeah.
And we did the, and also even the committee said, quilt, what are they talking about? I said, so I grabbed Cleve and I said, Cleve, I said, come in. We went into a bathroom together. I know, hold on. And I said, when I say this, raise your hand. And I said, how many want to have the march display the AIDS quilt? Hands up. And it was Cleve and I went back to the committee. I said, I just had a huge meeting and everybody voted in favor of the march sponsoring the AIDS quilt. But it was just Cleve and I in a bathroom. Right. So then
can I just interrupt?
The one other thing, the marriage ceremony. The other thing that happened at that march is the committee did not want to put on a marriage ceremony. And we put one on anyway. And 5,000 people came. And that was the first same-sex, no such thing as same-sex marriage, because after marriage, sex is never the same.
Hey, now.
But did I say that already?
To me and Elisa.
Oh, okay. And well, don't get married then. And we did the marriage ceremony, and like 5,000 people came, so it was huge. Then in '93, I produced the main stage for that march, and 1 million people came.
Yeah.
You were there?
I was there 87, 93.
You know, I used comics on stage at that march.
I wasn't out yet.
Oh, did you see Clinton and everybody else?
Yes.
I decided in order to move it quickly, instead of having MCs with droning on about we should be free, I would have comics on, and they were great at moving everybody.
Right.
And the biggest number in '93 was the military number, where I had all the people that were thrown out of the military.
Oh, that was beautiful.
And then I had Greta Kammermeyer led them off, and then I had Alan Schindler's mother, the sailor that had been killed,
right,
come out with and that got more than all the stars. There was Martina and Judith Light and Ian McKellen, but more than everybody the stars, this military number got the biggest applause. It had to last for 15 minutes.
Wow. I remember that, Judith Light, for me, when she spoke, because she was a straight ally. She wasn't gay. And a nice Jewish woman from New Jersey like myself. But when she spoke about love, it made me, here's this straight woman with everything to lose. And she had such and I told her at one of these events, she had such a profound effect on me.
I think
because
her manager was gay. I think he passed away. But
it was just like when you think about the gay pride parades, when I would see the parents, walking, my son is gay, I love my gay son. Like, that was the stuff.
Morty Manfred's mother started PFLAG. Morty was,
Right.
I was performing in New York at Catch a Rising Star. David Brenner got on and did a gay joke, anti-gay joke, an F joke.
Right.
And the audience stood up because 3/4 of them were gay men for me. And they said, get off, you can't do that joke anymore. Brenner was backstage crying. And I said, you can't make fun of us anymore. I mean, it was a really graphic, bad joke.
Right.
And Morty Manfred was there, and I was friends with him, and he ended up dying of AIDS, but his mother started PFLAG. So
Right.
can you imagine? I know when things started. Oh my God.
Yeah, and that's so important.
Oh my God. There was a 93 march. It was 1 million people.
Oh,
And,
that was amazing.
The Pentagon, I just read right now, there was a big thing out. The Pentagon is the people that were thrown out for being gay, they're going to change their thing and do it on. They're going to change their instead of a dishonorable discharge, they're going to make it an honorable discharge.
Good. For all of them
that were thrown out for being
forensically,
gay.
they're going to do it. Wow.
Yeah.
This week's episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. Now, I am a huge advocate for therapy. I talk therapy. I like physical therapy too, but I'm talking about talk therapy. I've been in therapy since I'm 18 years old. There is nothing better. Nothing better. And it is a stressful time. We just had an election. It's the holidays, and we're going to have to spend family time or not spend family time. It's a decision you might make in therapy, because therapy is really the best way, the only way to process your feelings, anxiety, depression, everything. I've been doing it for over 40 years. I know what I'm talking about. So if you've been thinking about starting therapy, if you thought about it for years and just didn't do it, please give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online. It's designed to be convenient. It's flexible. It's suited to your schedule. You go to betterhelp.com/JudyGold. You fill out a brief questionnaire. You get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch your therapist at any time for no additional charge. I've done that multiple times in my life, switch therapists. It works. It works. And I know a lot of people who have used BetterHelp, and they love it. So find comfort this December with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/JudyGold today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/JudyGold. You're welcome.
I have a question. I have a bunch of questions, but
Okay.
First of all, when you were an activist,
I still am.
I mean, in the beginning, activist, you're all, I know you are. I mean, we have the internet now. So these marches, you can reach so many people. You
Leaflet
started with nothing. And how did you manage to
Well, MCC Church was then had churches all over. They still are with the biggest gay organization in the world. So they would run off, we'd leaflets.
Right.
And we'd hand out leaflets. And also we'd just tell one lesbian and say, keep it a secret. And
and they tell everyone.
everybody. So, but it was harder to reach people. But also the hardest thing was I knew once they came to a march, I didn't think it would change Washington. But once you're out, it's hard to go back in. Once you're free, you're not going to go back. Right. And
which is happening in Russia right now.
yeah, I know. And the backlash against them.
Oh my God, people are going back in the closet.
I was in Russia in 1990 with a gay group, and they had a Russian conference, gay conference, and I performed for 800 gay men, Russian, and with 3 interpreters. And I thought, are they going to last? Are they going to laugh? And I opened with, "Oh, I recognize you. I met you I saw you in the food line this morning," because food was
Right.
And they laughed, and I thought, that's it. And I did all camp material, and it worked. So
Oh, that's great.
yeah, and the reason the conference, I think Bush or some American president was visiting, so they didn't raid the conference.
Right.
But I actually handed out condoms on Red Square. I didn't know what they were. They just give me a whole bunch of boxes. I said, "What are they?" They said, "Balloons." Hand them out. so I was in Red Square. So Russia was kind of interesting.
Yeah. You produced so many marches. You also tried to get married before anyone else.
Yeah,
You were the first couple when...
No. The first was in Boston.
No, Julie Goodridge and
Yeah.
No, but you were the first in California.
Yes, we were the first
But
to
you
sue.
had tried to get married prior to that, hadn't
For
you?
years, we went to the courthouse with MCC Church and Freedom to Marry. And I forget what we called ourselves. Maybe we were free, whatever we put on the poster. And we went to the courthouse for several years asking for a marriage certificate, and they turned us down. The year we went, we talked to Gloria Allred, and she said she'd accept our case.
Right.
And so we went to the courthouse with Gloria, and the press was there. And when they turned us down, Gloria said, "I'm filing a lawsuit for marriage equality," and we were the first ones. However, that afternoon, Gavin Newsom married all those people,
Right.
which wasn't legal. I mean, you can't marry; it was illegal. But it got all the press, and so our lawsuit didn't. 6 weeks after the California Supreme Court said the marriages weren't legal, then San Francisco couples filed, and eventually we were consolidated into one case, Tyler versus the state of California. But the actual marriage case started in the bastion of gay liberation,
Right.
Beverly Hills. That's where we filed,
Yeah.
Beverly Hills Courthouse, because that's where Diane was from.
Right. Okay.
Did I answer too
Yeah.
much?
No.
Okay.
I love it. What do you think? Okay. I do want to touch on the relationship between gay men and lesbians and how it was fraught. And then we came together because we had this common enemy of HIV. And it was all, I think the community was, in mourning, of course. And this was life and death circumstances. And it really showed the inequality because people had been together, 40 years? And then they were left with nothing, or their families came in and took all their shit.
That's why marriage was such an important issue, because it validated the relate. It wasn't because we needed Tupperware.
Right.
It was because it
or
gave
a God to bestow his blessings. Nothing to do with that. That's what I say.
the church can't marry you. Only the state can marry you. The church gives you a religious contract.
Right.
But all marriage is a contract. It's a civil right. And so if people that said, "Oh, I don't believe in gay marriage," somebody I'm staying with in the house said, "I don't believe in it." I said, "I don't care if you believe in it. Two women have children, and if one dies, the one that's
Right.
adopted that has two biologically, they go to a foster care because
Right.
the other has no rights."
These people have no fucking idea. It doesn't affect me, so I don't care. It
Right.
does affect you.
Yeah.
It does affect you.
Right, and also the big case was the DeBoer case, and because the children sued for their mother's right to get married, so that they could be, so that both mothers would have rights over
Right.
each of the two adopted children. But
What year was that?
The same as Obergefell, but he ended up calling the Obergefell case, right? Because his husband had died. But the truth is, what they debated was the rights of children. And the DeBoer case really was the lead case
Right.
in that, but the lesbian case did not get the publicity.
What?
The
That's
gay male
crazy.
case.
I can't believe that.
No, it didn't.
I'm kidding, Robin.
Yeah, right. Oh.
I mean, it's just so. Do you feel like?
Yes.
You do. I knew it.
Okay.
Do you feel like?
I feel like this.
Yeah.
I feel,
We're back to that. I feel we're back to that. Gay men here.
Well, men are men and women are women, and I think we're totally different. So I think I have more in common with women as feminists and as lesbians than I do with gay men, except for musical comedy and,
Right. But
and stuff.
I-
Listen, if we had breast cancer, which a lot of lesbians, people that don't have children are more prone to breast cancer, lesbians and nuns. So if instead of the AIDS crisis, if it had been the breast cancer crisis, would gay men have come to help us?
Exactly. Well, I say it on stage. I say at the end of my act, like during the AIDS crisis, who was there for you? And they all yell out, the lesbians. I said, and now they're stripping away women's rights.
And they're not there.
And they're not there. And you need to be here. And, when I think about
You
all the
can't
gay
make them there.
men, but think about these gay men who now have kids via surrogates. So they have a use for women and they have an interest in...
Will and Grace was a perfect thing about gay men. They love the straight, pretty women that fuss over them.
Right.
And my best friend that Tito, I lived with a gay man. I grew up with a gay man, but men are men and women are women. And I don't think that, I think women have the compassion, or were raised to have they've taken compassion and caring, and now they've made a disease out of it and call it codependency.
Right.
We call it being able to love.
Right.
So I think women are very different than men. And I think when you're able to have children, it's very different. It's very different.
Beyond.
So I don't expect out of them what I expect out of women.
Right.
And therefore, I'm not disappointed. How many gay men come to your show? Lots?
A lot, yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't get them that much.
I do. I get them, and they know me from when they were kids, and they watch me
But
on.
that's because you're brilliant. Okay, go
Oh,
ahead.
thank
You are.
you.
You're a brilliant stand-up.
When you think about businesses that are selling through the roof, sure, you think about a great product, a cool brand, and brilliant marketing. But an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business, making selling simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. Nobody does selling better than Shopify. They're the home of the #1 checkout on the planet and the not-so-secret Shop Pay that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts going abandoned and way more sales happening. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling, on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout Allbirds and Skims use. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/start selling, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/start selling to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/start selling.
I'm on the board of the National Coalition Against Censorship, and I don't believe in censorship. I think everyone, I have a problem with politicians lying and making up fucking story,
The reason I disagree with you, and I've read your book, but the reason I disagree with you is I had to sit at the Comedy Store and listen to all the rape jokes, and she's so fat and ugly and all this stuff. And there comes a point at which I don't want to take it anymore. I'll stand up, you do a rape joke, I'll stand up and stop you right there. In our act, we actually did a rape joke. Patty played an 80-year-old woman, and she said, last week I stopped a rape. And I said, how'd you do that? And she said, changed my mind. So I know. But we're just...
That's such a great joke.
But we're laughing at a rape. It's actually a rape joke.
It is, but it's so brilliant.
But when I see, when I had to sit through the rape the women and this and that.
No, but I sat through that shit too.
And so when you talk about censorship, when you talk about people should be able to say anything, I don't think, you're not brilliant if you get a laugh punching down. It's easy to punch down and get a laugh. They've done it forever. First it was the Irish, and then it was this, and then it was that.
But it's always been women. It's always
been women. And so do they have a right to say it? Yes. Does it make them funny? No. It's disgusting.
Do you think that anti-gay, trans, such as, we have Chappelle, we have
Bill Maher, every time he says trans, he kind of snickers, and it's too bad because he's very good on a lot of other stuff.
I agree.
But because they don't understand transgender.
Do you think it really is hurtful to the community?
Is what?
These people?
Of course,
yeah.
they kill them. They kill especially trans people of color. whenever you dehumanize somebody, it's very easy to hate them and kill them.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And now they can't do it with gay people. We have the right to marry with like everybody else. So
we're going to go to the trans, and it's also, this is part of our right to say this, but it is hurtful and it is destructive, and
yeah, but you know what? I don't care about the right to say it. Screw your right to say anti-trans stuff. They die. Try to do it with anti-black jokes. Go ahead, do it.
Right.
See if you have the courage to do it. You wouldn't, would you? But it's so easy to get to pick on people that are so marginalized and so misunderstood and a lot of times despised that all of a sudden they become the butt of your joke. Screw you, you assholes.
Right. And that's why I love all the trans comic that, for me, I mean, for you, you've seen so much. But I remember those times in the clubs with these guys getting up there and the shit that came out of their mouths. And I remember when I came out, because I worked in the straight clubs, the pushback I got. And I go to the clubs now and I see these people get on stage and there's no pushback. And it's so beautiful. But I have to say, Robin, I feel since October 7th, a pushback with my Jewish material, and there are comics on stage now. Like, I'm not going to do my Jew stuff. It's not worth it. I've never felt an audience for a benign Jewish joke about my mother get quiet because it's Jew. I'm just going to.
Johnny Carson told Elaine Boozer, who I consider one of the greatest comics, friend of mine, one of the great comics.
Yeah.
The best, sweet, wonderful, does all this for animals and dogs and stuff, a charity and raises money, takes no money. She's I can't tell you how fabulous. She's as good a person as she is a stand-up, and she's the best stand-up.
Right. And
Johnny Carson told her not to be so Jewish.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't, and that's
I've heard that my whole career.
Well, what are you going to do? Be Irish?
Right. And
it's anti-Semitic.
Right. And I had a manager who made me dye my hair blonde and straighten it. And I did it. And then I was like, what the fuck am I doing?
But even if you did it, do you think, can you stop being?
Yeah.
You talk with your hands and you're a Jew. I mean,
I'm a total Jew. If you were talking to a young gay person or member of our community and, they said, I want to know the history. I want to know the important and significant moments and people. Who would you say that they would need to learn about?
I think Frank Kameny is the most important because Frank Kameny stood up to the government. He was fired. He was a scientist, and he fought the government forever. He was a scientist. He was a brilliant man, and he got fired for being gay. And Kameny was important. I wouldn't say Harvey Milk, because Harvey Milk, became famous after he was assassinated. But because they named the ship and the stamp and everything after him, all of a sudden, gay men that made huge contributions, like Frank Kameny, were forgotten. And Frank is probably one of the great ever activists. The other, I think, Reverend Perry is very important, because Christian kids were killing themselves and committing suicide. And all of a sudden he said, God loves everyone, although I'm not religious, but he said, God loves everyone. And all of a sudden he gave Christian kids a place to go to, Christian gays and lesbians. And I think it saved countless thousands of lives from suicide. So I think those are the two, two of the most important gay
and
leaders.
Del Martin and no, Del and Phyllis.
They were very nice.
I love you. You're so fucking honest.
Well, sometimes people build people up because it builds themselves up doing it.
Yeah.
And Del and Phyllis were important to me writing that thing. But they were also members of the Democratic Party, and so a lot of time, I don't want to go into it. I appreciate what Del and Phyllis did, but I wouldn't put them up at the top. I remember they stayed at my house along with, who are the ones from the East Coast? Kay and I don't know, they were two big activists, and they sat at the table, they're 20 years older than me, fighting whether we should call ourselves gay or lesbians. I said nothing. I made breakfast and served coffee to them. But no, I think Kamini...
Is there anyone other than Harvey Milk where you say they got way more kudos than they should have? Because there's so many people who really do sacrifice behind the scenes and don't get any.
I can't, I'd have to sit down and think about it.
Right.
I called for all the marches in Washington. I did, when they did the sodomy thing, I organized all over Stop Dr. Laura.
That was my favorite. That's why I wanted to talk. Because I loved listening to Dr. Laura because I hated her. So it would keep me awake.
She didn't bury her mother, her Jewish mother.
Yes.
And finally I called up.
Wasn't her mother dead in the apartment for like days and days and they finally found her?
I finally called the paper. I said I was willing to pay and bury her mother. And the next day she buried her mother. So she was a piece of work.
She's a piece of shit.
She also, a young girl was attacked and raped or something. She called in New Jersey. And Laura Schlesinger said, well, what were you wearing that day or something like that? And apparently whoever was governor made her apologize to the kid.
Yeah,
so she was a piece of work.
Yeah, beyond.
So I did Stop Dr. Laura and organized all over the country, and people came out to get any place they were showing Laura Schlesinger. And she had been offered millions for her show. Two gay men were going to do a television show, and we stopped her. We stopped,
Good.
And she didn't get her TV show.
What would you say to a frustrated activist right now?
Because of Trump, people are openly prejudiced, and you don't have. I would say, get online and join a group and get on the streets and fight back.
Do it. Don't give up.
And not only don't give up, but don't give in. I mean,
that's better.
You can't have self-esteem if you're not fighting back. And don't be an internet activist, because then you're just angry on the internet. Your ass has to be out there.
And you're a coward. Because it's easy to have a soapbox on the internet. Also, final question.
Yes.
Well, if you had a bunch of Queers for Palestine in this room right now, what would you say to them?
I would say that a Queer for Palestine is like a chicken for Colonel Sanders. Why would you be, go ahead, go to Palestine. There's no Palestine, but go to the Gaza Strip and see how long you're going to last. You're going to get hung and you're going to get murdered, right? They're totally against gay people. When I was in Israel, I lectured at I did a lecture at the youth center, the Tel Aviv Youth Center, and half of the audience was Palestinian gay kids that the Israeli gay kids were walking around with hand in hand and protecting because they had to run away from home from not being murdered. So don't, if you have any Orthodox system, and I don't care if it's Orthodox Jews, Orthodox Christians, and especially Orthodox Muslims that kill their own people or their own children for being queer. Or mutilate the women for being women, and genital mutilation, and say, well, you're racist, you're anti-Muslim. No, I'm not. I'm pro anyone that's pro me.
Right.
Period.
100. Thank you, sister.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to part 3 of my interview with Robin Tyler. Did you not enjoy that? How about the Harvey Milk story? Huh? How about that? Really interesting. You think you know the truth, and you don't. Speaking of truth, that motherfucker better not fucking... Okay, I'm not even going to say it. This podcast, which I love and adore and lose money on, is produced by Laura Vogel. It is edited by Colin Schmaling, and it is marketed by Haley Dircher, and theme song by my friend and brother, Lauren Gold, who was in New York and went to the bagel shop and tells me right when he walks in. He doesn't tell me, oh, I'm going to the bagel shop right by you. Do you want to meet me? He just tells me when he's in there. And it's like, gives me no time to go meet him. But anyways, he is traveling with Chicago and Earth, Wind & Fire. He's amazing. He's an amazing musician, person, pianist. He's just the greatest. So that's Lauren Gold. Anyway, this weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Venus Cabaret, big gay cabaret. I'll be there. So get your asses to the show. And then I will be in Poughkeepsie November 16th. Just remember, and Florida people, November 22nd and 23rd, Florida. And Ben has a game. He starts his season, and yesterday, because this is airing, this comes out on Monday night, Tuesday. So Monday night is his first game, the 4th. So against Penn State, and I'm very proud of him. And of course, I'm proud of Henry too. Proud of both of my kids and my lover, Elisa. And we're going to go eat Thai food now. So thank you all for listening. I really, really appreciate it. Okay, fingers fucking crossed. And as we always say, so long.
This sales season, Ritual is urging you to think about what's essential. Your daily health? Pretty essential. Making sure your products are heavy metal tested, clean label project certified, and sourced through a traceable supply chain? Also essential. So this Black Friday, skip the micro trends and put your savings where they matter. Your health. With 40% off daily essentials like stress relief and Symbiotic Plus for gut support. Head to ritual.com/podcast and shop responsibly.